Beloved soul, listen gently for a moment, because nothing about this encounter is random. If these words have reached you now, it is because something unseen has aligned with your breath at this exact time. The space around you is shifting, quietly but unmistakably. The walls around you, the ceiling above your rest, the doors you cross each day have been holding more than silence. They have been carrying a story, a truth, a subtle vibration waiting for the right moment to be heard. Heaven has been attentive to your name, and this moment has been chosen with care, not to alarm you, not to overwhelm you, but to reveal something you were always meant to know. This is not a warning, and it is not a demand. This is a soft unveiling of a hidden strength resting closer to you than you realize. And once you see it, something inside you will never return to sleep again. Stay present, because every word that follows is like a quiet key turning inside a lock you didn't know existed. Your home has never been just a structure. It has witnessed your prayers when no one else could hear them, held your tears without judgment, and guarded your nights in silence. Yet every place carries memory, layers of energy woven over time, some light, some unresolved. There has been a gentle watchfulness at your threshold, an invitation waiting for your awareness to catch up with your readiness. You are being told now that there is something within your space that has been waiting patiently, not to control you, not to harm you, but to be recognized. This is the season where you stop moving through your life on instinct alone and begin to sense the deeper patterns shaping your days. Your home has absorbed your breath, your laughter, your quiet hopes, and it also carries traces of stories that began before you arrived. They are not here to burden you, but they have subtly influenced the rhythm of your mornings, the pace of your progress, the timing of what opens and what delays. Until now, you were not meant to notice. Today, that changes. This is the moment your awareness meets what has been waiting in plain sight. Picture the room where you rest your head each night, the quiet place where your guard finally drops, and notice that one wall where the morning light always arrives first, because heaven is drawing attention there now. I am shown a blade of light cutting across that surface with intention, not to harm but to reveal, and the message carried with it is tender and uncompromising. This is a point of contact, a place where the unseen has been brushing against your ordinary days while you walked past unaware. You have lived inside blessings without recognizing their weight. You have leaned against grace without knowing its name. The familiar objects around you, the furniture you inherited or chose in haste, the letters tucked away, the images that faded into background noise, all hold traces of intention and memory, not just yours but layered from before. And when heaven looks upon your home, it does not see clutter or decoration. It sees movement, resonance, and one particular frequency that has been asking, quietly but persistently, to be released. This truth may sting because it touches something collective and unspoken, the exhaustion of carrying atmospheres that are not ours, the confusion of feeling stalled without visible reason, the ache of sensing that life should feel lighter by now. This is not being revealed to frighten you, but to wake something ancient and capable within you, because awareness is the threshold where power returns. Once this is seen, you will no longer simply exist within your walls. Your space will begin to respond to you, reflecting clarity, breathing back peace, becoming a sanctuary rather than a container. I am shown that the ground beneath you has been marked with your essence, your belonging written into the fabric of this place, yet there remains an older imprint, someone else's unfinished echo lingering faintly, no longer strong enough to dominate but still present enough to delay, and it has been waiting not for force but for your consent to fully withdraw. This explains the heaviness that drifts into certain rooms, the way motivation falters in specific corners, the reason some doors in your life hesitate before opening, as though timing itself has been caught between pages. The message is clear and intimate. Your home is prepared for renewal, and you are not a visitor in this process. You are the one entrusted with authorship. When inner agreement meets a word spoken from beyond sight, movement becomes inevitable. And now, hear this shift clearly as we move forward together. Allow your heart to quietly consent. Allow your inner posture to soften. Allow yourself to acknowledge readiness without pressure or performance, because this alignment is not loud but decisive. You may speak it aloud or barely form it in your mind, but the declaration matters, not as effort but as permission, a simple yes that opens space for heaven to move through your ordinary rooms. Resist the urge to look away from this moment, because what surrounds you is not passive. Your home has been recording your life in silence, absorbing your seasons, your waiting, your resilience, and it is prepared to respond now that you are listening. The message being released now is tender but unwavering. This is not coincidence, not timing by chance, but a moment your space and your spirit have both been waiting for, because your home has been holding its breath, and heaven has been waiting for you to truly hear. I am drawn to the place where you gather most often, the room where you sit with your thoughts, where conversations rise and fall, where laughter sometimes visits and emptiness sometimes lingers, and the whisper comes gently but clearly that this room has been carrying echoes that did not begin with you. Words spoken long before your footsteps crossed, this threshold settled into the air and stayed, not because you failed to clear them, but because no one ever taught you they could be released, and you have felt them as unexplained heaviness, as fatigue that arrives without reason, as mornings that ask more of you than they should. The collective ache here is familiar, the quiet frustration of trying to rest in a place that never fully feels restful, of loving a home that somehow drains you, of wondering why peace feels close but never quite complete. Heaven is speaking now with compassion and authority, saying that this atmosphere is being washed, that what clung to yesterday is giving way to what is being prepared for tomorrow, that your home is shifting from merely containing your life to actively supporting it. This truth may feel sharp because it names something you have sensed for a long time but could not articulate. Until now, you lived inside your home, but your home was not fully alive within you, and this subtle misalignment slowed what was trying to arrive, not as punishment, not as rejection, but as resistance embedded quietly in the space itself. Pause here. Let your breath deepen and your awareness widen, because this is the exact moment where understanding settles into your body rather than staying in your mind. The resistance is breaking now, not through force, but through recognition, and the silence that once pressed against you is lifting, turning your home into a place of passage rather than pressure. I am shown the room where you sleep, where your head rests and your guard lowers, and the message there is deeply personal. Your dreams have not been random, your night visions have not been meaningless, And the things you saw and dismissed were not imagination, but communication, trying to reach you through the language your waking mind would not interrupt. Your pillows have absorbed tears you never explained. Your ceilings have witnessed sighs you thought no one heard, and heaven is now releasing those tears as seeds, and those sighs as winds that signal new beginnings rather than endings. This is not fantasy, and it is not suggestion, it is response. And if you feel a sudden lightness, a quiet relief, a sense of something loosening in your chest, that is not coincidence, but confirmation. And now, as this unfolds, let this be the turning point that carries us forward, because faith does not strain here, it simply agrees, and agreement is enough to allow movement. You are not being asked to perform or prove anything, only to let your inner posture align with what is already underway, to acknowledge readiness without urgency, to receive without fear. The movement continues into the heart of nourishment, into the place where meals are prepared and shared, where bodies are fed and histories quietly sit at the table, and the truth here is honest and shared by many. Food has carried not only sustenance but emotion, stress, silence, and unspoken tension, binding nourishment and memory together in ways that weighed heavier than you realized. The invitation now is gentle and practical, to let life be spoken over what sustains you, to allow care to replace strain, to recognize that even the simplest acts can shift atmosphere when done with awareness. From this moment forward, what feeds you is being realigned to support you, and this is how the unseen begins to show itself, not dramatically, but steadily, through relief, clarity, and a growing sense that your home is no longer holding you back, but quietly preparing the way ahead. Your home has never been ordinary, even when it felt small, tired, or weighed down by routine, because it was always meant to be a sacred place, a living sanctuary that holds more than furniture and walls. But every sacred place must be tended, renewed, and made ready again, and the message rising now is firm yet compassionate. This space is asking for your voice. As you move through your rooms, there is power in speaking life, in letting your hands rest against the walls and releasing words that carry intention, because the moment you do, unseen forces move with you, amplifying what you declare rather than watching from a distance. Pause here and let your breath slow, your awareness widen, and your body register that something is listening right now. The truth pressing forward is not gentle background noise. It is significant, charged, and purposeful, because this is the moment your space has been waiting for, the point where what has been hidden begins to surface. Your home carries layers, not just of paint or time, but of memory and emotion, laughter that once filled the air and moments of genuine warmth, alongside pain that was never spoken aloud, arguments that dissolved into silence, grief that lingered without resolution. Much of this did not begin with you, yet it has been affecting you, quietly shaping your energy, your rest, your momentum. The ache many carry without naming it is here, the feeling of being responsible for heaviness you did not create, the exhaustion of tending wounds that are not fully yours. And still, you are the one who arrived with the capacity to bring release, not because you are stronger than others, but because you are ready. The truth may feel sharp because it mirrors your own inner journey. Your home has been asking for healing, just as your heart has, and the two have been waiting for each other to align. I am drawn to the passages you cross without thought, the hallway, the staircase, the in-between spaces that connect one room to another, and it is revealed that these are places of transition where your energy has been shifting without explanation, sometimes lifted, sometimes inexplicably burdened, because thresholds hold power. What has drained you before will not drain you now. The movement is changing. What was once a corridor of fatigue is becoming a passage of strength, each step carrying weight and direction, as if destiny itself were echoing beneath your feet. And now, as this understanding settles and the focus turns gently but decisively forward, notice the windows, those open places that let the outside world touch your inner space, because they have been absorbing more than light. What you allowed through them, sounds, words, images, moods, has been shaping the atmosphere in ways no one taught you to notice, and this shared pain is familiar, feeling overstimulated yet unseen, surrounded yet unprotected. That season is ending. The windows are being cleared, the eyes of your home restored, allowing light to enter without distortion or residue. This is not metaphor meant to comfort you. It is reality reorganizing itself around your readiness, and your body already recognizes it in the shiver along your skin, the warmth in your chest, the subtle sense of relief that arrives before understanding does. I am then shown a space you rarely open, a closet, a drawer, a storage area, something kept out of sight, not out of fear but habit, and it carries the symbol of delay, not as punishment but accumulation. What was forgotten there has been holding energy you no longer need, and its release will feel disproportionate to the effort it takes. This is why the truth feels bitter at first, because sometimes the very places we call safe are the ones quietly slowing our progress, not out of malice, but because no one ever showed us how to let them change. But today, something ancient and decisive breaks, and it breaks through you. What once felt like a quiet confinement dissolves, and the place you live in begins to remember its original purpose. This space is no longer a container for survival. It rises into dignity. It stands as a place of authority. Pause here. What you are about to hear changes how everything before it is understood. In this moment, your home shifts from endurance to inheritance. Let yourself stand inwardly and let the truth move through you. Because when you name this place as belonging to heaven, you are not imagining change, you are authorizing it. The rooms around you respond, the corners soften, the weight you learned to live with begins to loosen. Every memory that once carried ache is touched with redemption. Every sound that once echoed strain is infused with blessing, and the space that witnessed your hardest seasons becomes a witness to your restoration. Pause here, allow your breath to deepen and your body to register the gravity of what is happening, because this is not symbolic language passing through you, it is alignment taking root. As this declaration settles, unseen movement surrounds your dwelling, presence stretching over your roof, sealing what has been spoken, not as wishful thinking, but as something ratified beyond sight. The walls that once absorbed silence now respond with light. The ceiling above you no longer presses down but opens. The ground beneath you hums with a new frequency, not chaos but renewal, and the message carried through it is steady and clear. The truth that once felt bitter was never meant to wound you. It was meant to free you. What you interpreted as heaviness was evidence of how much release was waiting. What you experienced as delay was a measure of how expansive the restoration would be. And now, as this shift crosses from the unseen into the tangible, notice how the narrative turns, because this is where the story deepens rather than ends. I am shown thresholds marked with oil, light moving like warmth across doorways, not as spectacle but as quiet authority, and the meaning is intimate. What enters this space now enters differently. Conversations soften, intentions clarify. Dreams formed here no longer dissolve by morning but carry weight and direction. The echoes of what came before lose their voice, replaced by resonance that supports life. The greater truth rises here, steady and unmistakable. The past no longer speaks the loudest. The space you inhabit begins to echo with what is being built, not what was endured. Your living area holds presence rather than tension. The place you sleep becomes a field of insight rather than exhaustion. Where you prepare nourishment becomes a place of sufficiency rather than strain. The passages you once rushed through now feel purposeful, as though each step is accompanied. Even the places you forgot, the corners you avoided, the spaces you postponed, are rewritten from stagnant to fertile. Stay anchored in this moment, because what is unfolding now depends on attention rather than effort. And faith in this instant is not striving, it is recognition. This is the turning point where inner agreement allows outer reality to reorganize itself. Let your heart align with what it already knows is true. Let your inner voice speak without fear or force, acknowledging timing rather than demanding outcome. And as this alignment completes itself, something irreversible settles in. The covering remains. The residue does not return. This space is sealed not by fear but by clarity. You will sense it in the nights that feel less heavy, in mornings that arrive with gentler breath, in conversations that no longer scrape at old wounds, in opportunities that approach without resistance. This is not coincidence, and it is not imagination. Your home is no longer silent. It is awake. It is responsive. It stands with you now, not as a witness to struggle, but as a partner in what is being born. Now that the shift has been sealed, there is a quieter truth moving underneath the surface, one that speaks directly to the part of you that learned to endure without being seen. You carried weight without explanation, showed up when no one applauded, and kept choosing forward motion even when progress felt invisible. There were seasons when you questioned whether the effort mattered, whether the patience was noticed, whether the seeds you planted in silence would ever break the soil. And that unspoken ache is shared by many who walk this path. The fatigue of doing what is right without immediate return. What is being revealed now is not a reward for performance, but a response to faithfulness that never needed witnesses. Nothing you sustained quietly was wasted. Nothing you held together when it would have been easier to withdraw went unseen. The movement you are feeling is connected to those unseen moments, not as cause and effect you could calculate, but as alignment finally catching up with intention. Pause here and let this land without trying to measure it, because recognition does not always arrive loudly, and some confirmations are meant to be felt before they are understood. There is a pattern in Scripture where transformation follows obscurity, where growth is prepared in hidden places before it becomes visible. like the years Joseph spent unseen before the moment his purpose could no longer be contained. And this pattern is not distant history, it is living rhythm. What you have lived through has shaped capacity, not punishment, and the shift now arriving is proportionate to what you learned to carry without bitterness. The tenderness you developed, the restraint you practiced, the integrity you chose when shortcuts were available, all contributed to the stability required for what comes next. This is why the transition feels internal before it becomes external, because the work was always about who you were becoming, not what you were accumulating. And now, as this unfolds, notice how the language inside you begins to change, how old self-accusations lose their grip, how comparison grows quieter, how the urge to rush gives way to a steadier confidence. This is not because circumstances suddenly became easy, but because something within you has settled into its rightful place. And now, as we move gently into what follows, allow yourself to recognize that this process did not start today. It is only becoming visible today. The unseen has been active longer than you realize, arranging connections, softening resistance, loosening what no longer fits. And the reason this moment feels charged is because alignment has reached a threshold. You are not behind, you are not late. You are arriving at the point where preparation and timing finally meet. The pain you survived quietly did not disqualify you. It refined you. The patience you practiced did not delay you. It protected you. And the faith you maintained without certainty has now created space for clarity. What comes next will not demand that you prove yourself again. It will invite you to trust what you already know how to do, to move with discernment rather than desperation, to respond instead of react. This is the kind of transition that rewrites identity before it changes environment. You are stepping into a phase where what you carry inside finally matches what is opening around you, and that harmony is not accidental. It has been prepared with care, and you are ready to recognize it. Now, as this message settles, there is a gentle invitation to let what has already begun find a place to land in your daily life, not through effort or performance, but through quiet cooperation. What has been set in motion does not need you to rush or to prove anything. It only asks that you make room. You might notice an inner nudge to loosen your grip on a thought that has defined you for too long, a fear that once kept you safe but now keeps you small, or an identity you carried because it helped you survive. Even if it no longer reflects who you are becoming, letting go does not require force. It can begin with simple awareness and the willingness to no longer feed what has finished its work. In the same way, you may feel drawn to tend to your physical space with care, not as a task, but as an act of alignment. Perhaps clearing a surface that has collected weight, opening a window, or creating a small pocket of order that allows breath to move more freely. These gestures are not rituals to earn anything. They are signals that you are available for what is already approaching. You might also feel called to acknowledge what you are quietly hoping for, not to demand it, but to name it honestly, maybe by writing it down without urgency, or holding it gently in your awareness without trying to control how or when it arrives. As your days unfold, pay attention without strain. Patterns may repeat, certain ideas may return. Opportunities may present themselves in ordinary forms, asking for presence rather than certainty. Readiness here does not look like bold action. It looks like openness, the kind that allows you to say yes when the timing feels calm rather than pressured. You do not need to change everything at once, and you do not need to be fully prepared. Being slightly more attentive than yesterday is enough. The unseen is already working, arranging, softening, and guiding, and your part is simply to stay grounded, to listen with your whole self, and to trust that making space is itself an act of wisdom. Nothing new is being demanded of you, only a gentle agreement to live in a way that welcomes what is coming. Let this be simple. Let it be human. Let it be steady. What is meant to meet you will do so without force, and you will recognize it not by urgency, but by the quiet sense that something fits where it once did not. What you have felt moving through you during this time is real, and it carries meaning. The quiet recognition, the subtle stirring, the sense that something has shifted beneath the surface were not imagined or accidental. What has been spoken has been received, recorded, and set into motion beyond what can be seen, and it does not require you to manage it or hold it tightly. It is already unfolding with care. If you are still here, it is because something within you recognized itself in these words, not through force, but through resonance. Let that recognition be enough. This moment does not close a story. It marks a crossing. You are standing at the threshold of a new season that will reveal itself gently, piece by piece, as you continue to live and listen. As Scripture reminds us, the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Take that as a seal, not a timeline. What has begun will continue in its own wisdom. There is nothing you need to chase and nothing you need to fear. Carry this knowing softly with you, allowing it to shape your steps without urgency. And now, as you move forward, may peace remain near, may clarity arrive when it is needed, and may what has been set in motion meet you again in ways that feel both familiar and new. Let us enter this prayer gently, resting in the presence that is already holding us. Faithful God, we come not to ask from emptiness, but to acknowledge fullness already at work, giving thanks for the quiet guidance that has led each step, even when the path was unclear. We thank you for what you have arranged beyond sight, for the order you established in the unseen while we were simply learning how to endure, and for the seeds of love, obedience, and faithfulness planted in seasons when no one noticed and nothing seemed to change. You saw the listener in moments of silence, in choices made without recognition, in patience practiced without certainty, and you counted none of it as small. We honor you for being present in every hidden room of the heart and every ordinary day where trust was lived rather than spoken. We place before you this season of transition, not with fear or urgency, but with reverence, knowing that what is unfolding is not accidental, but appointed. We ask for peace that settles the body, clarity that steadies the mind, and readiness that does not rush ahead of your timing. Teach us how to walk forward without striving, how to release what has finished its work, and how to remain open to what you are bringing forth. As your word says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" And we receive that not as pressure, but as assurance. Guard the hearts of those praying now from doubt that erodes trust and from fear that demands control. Let discernment rise gently, allowing each step to be taken with wisdom rather than haste. We dedicate our homes, our inner spaces, our daily rhythms to you, trusting that what has been aligned in the unseen will continue to unfold in truth. Where there has been weariness, bring restoration. Where there has been waiting, bring steadiness. Where there has been quiet faithfulness, bring affirmation that you have always been near. We do not ask to be spared from growth, only to be accompanied through it, anchored in your presence as we move from one season into the next. We surrender the need to understand everything at once and choose instead to walk with you moment by moment, believing that your care surrounds what we cannot yet see. And now, with gratitude, we thank everyone who has prayed in this moment, affirming that no one here is alone on this path. May peace linger as you go, may trust remain close, and may what has been set in motion continue to meet you gently along the way. Before you step away from this moment, there is a quiet invitation being extended to you, one rooted in care rather than obligation. If your heart feels full, tender, or stirred, you are welcome to let some of what you are carrying take shape in words. In the comments below, you may share whatever feels true for you right now, a hope you have held in silence, a pain that still aches, a fear you have not named, or a prayer you have not known how to finish. There is no judgment here and no expectation to explain yourself. God sees every word written in honesty, and not a single prayer offered from a sincere heart is overlooked. When you choose to share, you are not exposing weakness. You are allowing light to meet truth, and you are not doing so alone. Many are walking this path beside you, held by the same grace and guided by the same love. If this message has brought comfort or clarity, you may gently support this space by liking the video, sharing it with someone who may need reassurance, and subscribing if you wish to continue receiving these moments of reflection and prayer. Do so only as it feels right for you. Take your time, remain present, and know that you are seen, accompanied, and carried forward in love.